cardio was going off right around that time. And I got to be honest, I'm mad for Baylor. I'm mad for Baylor. And you just said this before we came on the air. If I wanted to do the talk show host thing where I wanted to take credit for something and let everybody know how super smart I am, I was way ahead of the TCU bandwagon. Way ahead of it. I think TCU is really good. I also know that Baylor beat them. And what the committee's doing right now, moving TCU up, essentially making it impossible. Baylor could beat Kansas State this weekend by 100, which they won't, because Kansas State, we got some numbers on them in these spots. They're really tough to deal with. But this is stupid, what they're doing to Baylor. Think of it this way. Let's say that Baylor beat Kansas State earlier in the year, on the date that they played TCU. And let's say Baylor played TCU this weekend, and they came back from 21 down to beat an unbeaten TCU team. Are you telling me that at the end of this week with the exact same record, if they beat them in this week, in the exact same script that they beat them in October, that TCU be ranked ahead of Baylor? Because if you believe that's true, I believe you're wrong.
You're right. The timing of this is something where the committee can kind of push it back. We look back at the initial rankings for the end of October. TCU was 7th, Baylor was 13th. And the things that we said were, well, they'll have time. They'll have time to catch up. They'll have time to catch up. They're not in the same pod, perhaps, right now, so head-to-head isn't as much of a factor. I am open to the idea that head-to-head should not be the end-all, be-all. But when it's the same conference, with the same schedule, and every time you want to play we house Texas Tech, they struggle with Texas Tech. They could say the same thing about Kansas to you guys. You guys struggle with Oklahoma, they blasted them. You guys beat up on Texas, you know what? They beat Oklahoma State at home. Well, all these things that happen, I feel like TCU gets more credit for being up 21 and losing than Baylor does for being down 21 and coming back to win.
And the West,